Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast where you can gain insight on my perspective. My name is Hayden, and this is episode 10 of a series called 24 Lessons I've Learned in My 24 Years of Life. Little change in scenery. I'm at my best friend's place in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm currently doing a road trip to Ohio from Florida. For those who are new here, I was born and raised in Ohio, and a lot of my family still lives there, so I'm going back to visit them and some friends. I just needed a break and I am editing and working on some projects along the way, which is really cool. So I brought you guys with me, and instead of trying to film these episodes in advance and stress myself out before I left, I decided I'm just gonna do them from the road or from wherever I'm staying. And it just so happens that I'm here in Asheville and I have the entire place to myself because everybody's at work right now. And this is me also at work right now. So let's get into today's episode. Trust yourself. Learning to trust yourself is arguably one of the best things that you could do for yourself. The benefits of trusting yourself versus depending on somebody else is like incredible. Not only are you better connected to yourself, you're learning to trust your intuition. You're quicker and smarter with your decision making, and you're consistently being mindful. I don't see anything wrong with any of those. That's my opinion, but as somebody who is learning to trust themselves more, I can attest to the fact that it has only benefited my life, which a lot of these lessons that I talk about in this series has heavily impacted my life in such a positive way, even if I had to go through some shit to get there. So there's a independency versus codependency in just about anything. Specifically this, I've noticed people who have a more independent sense of self or mindset have greater confidence within themselves, and that goes for anything that they are doing, whether that's how they present themselves, it's how they talk to other people, it's how they make decisions. And the people that get to know and trust themselves, I guess this ties into the previous episode with getting to know and love yourself. So also learning to trust yourself is such a big part of that. When you're learning to trust yourself, being by yourself, you're getting a greater sense of self-awareness and awareness in general of your surroundings and everyone else around you, which is a very cool thing to see, especially in my life because I've had so much growth in this area of learning to trust myself. And I used to just wait for the opinions of others. I would stay up for hours texting my friends and being like, should I do this? Should I say this to this person? How exactly should I write this? Most of the time, like, they would tell me what to say, and I'm like, that doesn't feel right. I don't wanna say that. And they're like, say it, that's how it's gonna go down, that's how this and that. Then I just created this bigger issue for myself instead of just tackling the thing head on and just addressing the conversation I was having, versus stress myself out and ask for literally everybody else's opinion in the world about what they thought of this situation, prolong this conversation, which then just creates unnecessary tension between you and the other person that you're chatting with. And it's just crazy, especially like when I get to know people, whether that's platonically or romantically. I used to always ask my friends what they thought, what their opinion was, and it skewed mine so much that I was like, actually, I'm with this person now and I don't like them. Not blaming my friends, I'm blaming myself for not like trusting myself. Or like when you're asking your friend what you should get from the restaurant or from the store and it's not quite what you wanted, but you listen to them anyway, knowing like that's not what I wanted. So you felt something inside of you, or you had a knowing that this was right for you, but you still went with somebody else's decision instead. So when you are learning to trust yourself, trust that you are going to make the right decision for yourself, and don't allow the opinion of others or the feelings of others or the emotions of others to affect your judgment of what you know is right for you. And just like a certain diet might be really good for somebody else, but it's not going to be good for somebody else. And also, when you do something that's right for yourself, you're becoming more in tune with yourself. Whenever you're going to make a decision, you do get little flickers in your body of feelings. And when you're being mindful of those, you can tap into those and be like, where's this feeling coming from? Is this that butterfly feeling that maybe you like somebody and you're getting anxious about it? Because most of the time, as I've learned, that butterfly feeling, that flipping of the stomach is not a good thing. That is a warning sign. The butterflies is not all like, oh, I love this, I love what's about to happen. No, your intuition is being like, hey, pay attention to this. This is not the person that you want to be with. Like, this is a warning. and it's going to get worse. And maybe you decided to, let's say you set up a date with this person that you got butterflies with, right? And you start getting stomach issues right before you're going to go out, and you're like, "Ah, I'm just nervous. It's just the nerves. It's just, I'm so excited. I'm so nervous." And then you go, and then it's not good, and you have so many differences, and you're like, I don't know, and maybe you get a headache while you're out, and you're like, what is going on? I like this person, but oh my gosh, and you go home and you think about it. Either you make the conscious decision that, maybe that's not right for me. Maybe what my body is telling me is true, and maybe I should listen to that. Or you pursue it, and then you ignore all of your warning signs that are happening, and then you find yourself wound up in a relationship that you didn't want to be in to begin with. And I know that that's like a wild example. That is something that has happened to me. And like I said, I share from personal experience. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to share everything in my life, but that is something that I have experienced. Is when I met somebody, I felt butterflies, and sometimes I'll like violently shake. That is another thing that my body does. If I see somebody that like I feel like I'm attracted to, or they seem really cool or intimidating or something, I start to violently shake, like uncontrollably shake. And I'm like, why am I shaking? I'm literally not nervous right now. And I'll be like telling this person this later on down the road, they are not the right person. Like, they are not somebody I should have even come in contact with. That warning sign, that violent shaking, oh my gosh, the amount of situations I've gotten out of because I was like, okay, I'm shaking again. Why am I shaking? Let me follow this feeling and see what happens. When is the last time I shook? With what person? And what happened in that partnership? And I would go back and I'd pull that emotion out, and I'm like, okay, that's because I wasn't meant to be with that person. I wasn't meant to connect with that person. But part of me wanted to connect with them so badly, a very selfish part of myself that wasn't listening to the rest. My body was giving me physical signals. I've even supposed to be to go on a date, and I've gotten sick right before a date, and I'm like, I'm still going. There's so many things, so pay attention to what your body is telling you. Or you're going to make a decision at the store, and maybe you get like a tight chest when you're about to buy something, and you're like, do I really need this? Do I not? And you're debating. And if you just wait a second before making a decision, you can feel that feeling. Your body's gonna tell you, this knowing that you have within yourself, aka your intuition, is going to let you know you don't need this. This food is not good for you. Too much of anything is not good for you. So being so attentive to these can kind of drive you crazy. Do it in moderation. Just feel it out anytime you're gonna make a big decision. Just like when I'm planning a trip, if things start falling out of place and I cannot get things in order, I take that as a sign. I'm not going on this trip. It is fine. I will figure it out. If I'm meant to go on this trip, a new avenue will pop up where I can take it, or a new date will come up. Just like when I planned this trip, there were a few obstacles, but I never felt a sick, nervous feeling. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is good. What I'm doing, there's just a couple obstacles I gotta get around first, planning wise. So it's fine. And if I felt genuinely ill and my body was giving me signals, I wouldn't have taken this trip if it didn't feel right. But there were so many alignments along the way that I was supposed to take this trip, synchronicities, and there was no coincidences. Just everything was lining up the way it should, and I was like, I'm meant to take this trip for a reason. Then I felt confident to do so, and I've had no problems. I'm confident in my abilities to drive safely, to keep Max under control in certain situations. He is still reactive. Listen to your gut. That's something you guys have probably heard so much throughout your life. Listen to your gut. Pay attention to your gut. Your gut feelings, that is your intuition. And yeah, you might be like, well, damn, my stomach just hurts. I got bubble guts or something. That's a different type of feeling, and you'll know how to decipher those when you pay closer attention to your body and you're more mindful. You can also make the conscious decision, healthy decisions for yourself, so you can stay out of situations you're not actually meant to be in instead of forcing your way through them, pushing through them. Like people say, don't give up when things get hard. But listen to your body. If something genuinely is like, it is so difficult and there's so much resistance, like I talked about in a previous episode, rejection is redirection. And if you're faced with that much resistance, you're being redirected. Just flow with the redirection and see what happens. If you're meant to come back to this point again, you'll come back. It'll just be a different way. But yeah, so when you listen to your gut, you're paying close attention to what you're thinking in that moment, where you're at in the moment. Take in everything around you to address what is going on in this moment. And that's how you become more attuned to yourself and to your feelings and to your intuition. And just paying attention to it. Ask yourself questions and just stay quiet and think. This is why people recommend meditating, which is something I'm like getting more into, learning how to regulate my breathing and getting into meditations more. It's just simply the quieting of the mind and going inward, right? Because there's so much external stimuli that we are seeing every single day. And you just need a quiet moment to really listen to yourself. So when you're out and about and you're like trying to make a fast-paced decision and you're getting anxious about it and you're like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know. Take a deep breath. See where your mind is at. See if you mellow out and find that feeling in your body that's going to help guide you to what you need to do. And the more you do this, the quicker you get at it. It's not like a lengthy process, like when you're going to the store and you're making a decision like, and then you're there for like several hours. No, like you get so attuned to this, you know exactly what you want, and you just grow with confidence over time. And that's what's happening to me. And also because I'm 24, a science-based perspective is my frontal lobe is developing, and I'm also just becoming aware to many things that I was like kind of aware of, but not fully. So seeing life from this new perspective is very interesting, which is going to go into the next episode, which I'm going to be talking about perspective. So to end on this, when you trust yourself, this creates a healthier mindset and you're more aware of what you're doing. And you're more mindful about what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, what you're creating, how you're interacting with the people around you. And it creates this healthy balance that you can use on a day-to-day basis. You know when something's too much and you know when something's not enough. But pay attention to those feelings within you. I point to my gut a lot because that is where my intuition lies. I have a lot of knowledge up here, but everything's got to be in alignment to work correctly. So pay close attention to which feeling is, and I promise you, you will figure it out. But learn to trust yourself and not depend on others for what you already know to be true to you. Thank you guys so much for joining me in today's podcast episode. Please leave a like, comment, rating, review. Let me know how you are liking this series. I am looking forward to continuing this series the next couple of months and giving you guys more of an insight on my life. And there are more projects and videos that are under works right now. Follow me on Instagram at Hayden.Ezra. Also, I post on TikTok. And I will catch you guys in next week's episode, even though I'm about to film it right now.